and running. Welcome to Jets Nation. I'm Brian Custer alongside Ray Lucas, Erik Coleman, Erik Coleman. She's going to join us in just a few moments. Guys, we are getting closer and closer to training camp. I love it. OTAs kick off this upcoming week. By the way, you know, Todd Bowles, always been known as a defensive-minded coach, played 8 years in the NFL as a defensive back. Been a defensive coach since '97. Well, our Geno Coakley caught up with the Jets head coach to discuss the other side of the football, the offense.
How do you plan on putting your fingerprint on this offense?
Well, you got to know what's going on. Chan's an experienced coordinator, but I still have to know what's going on, and we have to see things the same way, and we do. And we have to put people in the right place, and we have to get points on the board. We got to score one more point than the other team.
Have you spending a lot more time with the offense and with Chan than you normally would?
Normally, yes, as a head coach. I mean, I know the defense. I know what they're doing. So schematically, I can just look out on the field and see what they're trying to run. But it's important for me to get to know the offensive line, the receivers, the backs, and the quarterbacks, and understand what they have going on and how they think and how they tick. So in game situations, you don't have to go over there asking and worrying about what's being called or what's going on.
I don't know about you guys. That's refreshing to me to hear that, because we've gone through 5-6 years of a coach who had no idea.
It's about that time.
Yeah.
It's about that time.
Had no idea what was going on offensively. I like that. How involved should Todd Bowles be on the offensive side of the football?
I think you should be very involved, specifically when you talk about the preparation of the game. You know, as a defensive coach, there are different tells that a defense does to kind of give the advantage to the quarterback. In preparation, you can find a guy in the defense who's giving away the coverage, who can show Geno, you know, there is a play that can beat every coverage. That can help them prepare, call the offense a little more effectively.
For me, it's more or less game time decisions. You know, as a head coach, what you want to do is it's not so much just be aware. You know, there was times in the game when Parcells was there and he'd say, listen, I need, you know, Curtis Martin in on this play, I need Richie Anderson in on this play. And I think, you know, game time management, I think Todd Bowles has to be able to say, hey, Chan, listen, the pass ain't working. We need to start running the football. And I think that, to me, would be, you know, how a head coach does it. It's a good balance in that, because he's a great defensive coach. But you heard him say he just wants to be aware of what's going on. So when he's doing a game time decision, hey, we're going to punt, we're going to go for it, he's got to be involved.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he comes from a defensive background, but he is the head coach now. He has to oversee everyone and hold everyone accountable.
And for the most part, you want to have a coach who knows that if there's some point in the game you're saying, hey, look, why aren't we not getting Brandon Marshall to football? Or why aren't we not doing this, and that? And that's because he's had some idea of what the offensive game plan was for that week, and he wants to know why it hasn't been implemented on that Sunday when he can see something defensively.
Absolutely.
And say, hey, I think this is going to work. Why are we not getting him the football? I think you want that.
Absolutely. And again, we've seen the Jets go through 5 years with Rex Ryan, who said, hey, how come Santonio Holmes wasn't in the game at the end? Oh, I didn't know he wasn't in the game at the end. That doesn't work for New York Jet fans. Todd Bowles is a different animal. I think he's going to be great. He's going to be savvy of what's going on offense and what's going on the defense.
Well, ever since, you know, Brandon Marshall was traded to the Jets, he and Geno Smith have all of a sudden now become BFFs. You know, Marshall worked out with Geno Smith in Florida. The two have been working out at the Jets facility now 24/7 and going over plays, so much so that Marshall has been living with Geno Smith near the Jets facility until he can get his own place next month. So, with that said, let's ask the question, what about Brandon Marshall? How much of an impact do you think he will have on Geno Smith this season?
I think it's already had a huge impact. The fact that they're working out right now, you got to understand, Geno Smith's going into a new offense, a Chan Gailey offense, so it's going to be tough to learn. But when you have leadership like a Brandon Marshall, when you have leadership on defense, you know, Muhammad Wilkerson, it makes the quarterback better. McCagney's done everything he can to put the pieces around the puzzle for Geno Smith or Ryan Fitzpatrick. But the fact that Brandon Marshall saying, hey, kid, this is what you need to do. It's a third year. This is a crucial year for Geno Smith. Either he's going to be on the Jets wearing the green and white or he's not. And that's just the fact. So when you got a guy like Brandon Marshall, I had a guy like Wayne Corbett. I always knew where he was going to be. I always knew he was my security blanket. Brandon Marshall is helping Geno Smith mentally, Brian. And that's been a big problem for Geno Smith's game. Physically, he can make all the throws. The decision-making process, that's hurt Geno, and Marshall could definitely help with that.
Well, how else can he help?
Well, I think it's going to be a confidence builder for Geno, knowing that he has someone on the field who he can trust, someone who's going to hold him accountable. You know, when I played with the Jets, I had Sean Ellis and Jonathan Vilma in the huddle. Anytime they would complete a pass on defense in the secondary, doesn't matter if it was my guy, someone else's guy, they would come looking at me, asking me what was going on. You need that accountability in that huddle, and I think Brandon Marshall's going to do that for Geno.
You know, Brandon Marshall has typically been hard on quarterbacks, whether it's been Cutler or when he was in Miami, things of that nature. There are some people who say, well, maybe that's a down thing because he's going to be so hard on Geno Smith, saying, hey, look, you got to get me the football. I don't care that this other guy, Eric Decker's open. Get me the football.
For me, I always go back to the story with Keyshawn Johnson. I'm in the huddle. I'm just about to call the play. Keyshawn says, Ray, man, I'm open. I said, Keyshawn, I didn't even say what the play was. He said, I don't care what the play is. I'm open. You want a guy like that on your field. Brandon Marshall is going to bring that toughness, that game time. When all the chips are on the line, he wants the football. As a quarterback, it's such a luxury to have a guy like that.
Yeah, and you can teach him some of those nuances of the game, too.
Absolutely.
Some of the tricks of the trade, too. He's been 10 years now in the league.